Hi, I'm Jeremy Tandy, Principal Fellow at the Met Office in the UK and also Vice Chair of the WMO Standing Committee on Information Management and Technology. I've got 5 minutes, so let's get started on what you need to know from a WMO perspective. First of all, WMO reform. Last year at Congress, WMO approved a whole slate of reforms aimed at making the organisation much more effective. And the most important change in this context is that WMO now has only 2 technical commissions and a bunch of boards and panels, notably the Commission for Observations, Infrastructure and Information Systems, otherwise known as the Infrastructure Commission, or INFCOM, and they are responsible for the development and implementation of globally coordinated systems and related standards. There's the Commission for Weather, Climate, Water and Related Environmental Services and Applications, called the Services Commission, or SERCOM, and they are responsible for services and applications to enable informed decision-making and realization of socio-economic benefits. Next, we have the Research Board on Weather, Climate, Water and the Environment, and they translate strategic aims of WMO and decisions of Executive Council and Congress into overarching research priorities. And then for you guys, it's really important to see that we have the Joint Collaborative Board between the WMO and IOC, and this replaces JCOM, and that has been established as a resolution of both WMO and IOC. And I am personally involved in both INFCOM as a member of the management group, and also on the Joint Collaborative Board as the rep relating to data processing and management. So, dropping down into INFCOM, there are 3 subgroups that you should be aware of if you're into data management in the marine and oceans domain. The first is the Standing Committee on Information Management and Technology, SCIMT. I'm the Vice Chair of this group, responsible for the evolution of WIS, and in this group we look after data and metadata standards and the technical regulation that enables systems from 190 plus countries to be seen as a coherent whole. Otherwise known as the WMO Information System, or WIS. Next we have the Study Group on Data Policies and Issues, SGDIP. They're responsible for developing some recommendations for an update to the WMO data policies, resolutions 40, 25 and 60, to reflect the changing technical, commercial and legal landscape. The explosion in data volume and the data sources, the increased provision of observations from the private sector, and the move of many governments towards open data policies are just some of the issues that are trying to be resolved there. And finally, we have the Study Group on Ocean Observing Infrastructure Systems, SGOOIS, and this is the one that will propose and help establish efficient functional connections between GOOS and the relevant WMO initiatives, including GCOS, GORE, WIGOS, WIS, IODE, and GDPFS. So, let's just take a look at WIS. WIS 2.0 is the next step in data sharing infrastructure for all of WMO, and that's something I wanted to give you a bit of a heads up about. So, back last year, the approach for WIS 2 was endorsed by Congress, and this year we were expecting to have final approval by Executive Council, followed by experimental implementation for a couple of years, then approval of technical regulation and initial operating capability in 2024. But this little thing called COVID has caused us a bit of a challenge, and that's delayed some of the crucial WMO meetings, which means I don't expect final approval for WIS 2 until February, March next year. There will be a slide to the right, but hopefully not too much, and we're still tracking approval of technical regulation in 2023. This means that the time for experimental implementation, those WIS 2 demonstrator projects, might get squeezed a bit. But talking of time, I don't have time to go through all the important things on WIS 2, but here are 4 changes that are central to WIS 2.0. WIS 2 prioritizes the use of public telecom networks, the internet. Secondly, WIS 2 adopts web technologies. You'll be familiar with most of those. WIS 2 uses web services for publishing data, and WIS 2 adds open standard message protocols to the GTS. We're talking pub/sub here. Think WhatsApp for weather. And what about big data? What happens when the data from other centers is too big to move? We all know that data volumes are getting so much bigger. WIS 2 encourages the use of cloud technology to enable users to exploit big data. Cloud-hosted data platforms provide processing capability and ready-made tooling, and the mantra here is don't download, use the data in situ. And that's all I have time for, just to whet your appetite. And I'll leave you with this: there is no cloud, it's just other people's computers. Thank you.